we're back on another edition of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. It's Jonathan Howe, it's Travis Cunningham, and this is episode 46. And once again, Travis, I forgot to look ahead to see if we have a number 46. I actually had to really think about just before I cracked the mic here, what episode are we actually on? But I got it figured out.
You nailed it.
But
do you got a guy to go first? Do you want me to go first? I've got two, as always.
I know you do because I'm pretty sure you're thinking of the guy that I'm thinking of, but go for it first.
Then.
No, you go first.
No, you say it. I know you're going to say it.
No, because I can't remember their name. That's the problem.
Oh.
So I have to find. I'm looking it up.
Okay, so I'm going to go with 46. This guy is the son of a legendary super modified racer from Oswego and all that. He's been coming around the last couple of years to Wash Weekend. He ran all 3 nationals last year, I believe. 46, Canadian boy, Ryan Conium. He also has outlaw starts back in the day. He's driven a super modified himself and an asphalt modified. Quite the shoe, really. Big. Yeah, he's driven almost everything there is. That's fun.
46. Now, is there not another 46 in sprints? That's what I'm trying to find right now.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, because
that's what I wanted you to say.
Now I'm blanking on who it is because now
he's a listener too, and he's asked to come on the show, and this is making me think of that.
I know.
Sorry, Kevin Pauls.
Thank
number
you.
46.
I wasn't gonna say it without checking it, but I was like, it's Kevin Pauls, isn't it? I don't want to say it and be wrong because I'm like, wait, what if he drives the 4? And then I'm like, no, that's Peltier that I'm thinking of, I think.
And then another 46 dear to my heart is he doesn't race anymore. His brother does in the 4. Oh yeah, so he's 46 too. Brandon Mallett and Warren Mallett. That's the number.
Okay, so I was going to go Kevin Pauls. I just had to confirm that it was Kevin in my brain that I see in the 46 car. All the 4s, for whatever reason, blend together for me. There's too many.
Brandon Mallett is
40s and 40,
crate late model guy from Brighton.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And I've heard he's got a crate sprint this year. I don't know if he told anybody, but top secret. I heard that.
Out here breaking news. Maybe we'll see him at Merrittville Test and Tune. That is this Saturday. Merrittville Speedway.
I doubt that.
Cars on the track. Pit gates open at 12. I think the scaling starts around 1 o'clock is what I heard. Cars on track for 6, I should say. Pit gates open 12. Scales. And then cars on track 6 o'clock. See if we get some mock races. By the way, I hear that it's going to be free to fans to come out and watch if you want to just come and watch practice. And otherwise, make sure you get your pit passes and come on over.
Those are $20 for crew.
Yes.
Pretty good deal if you want to see what goes on in the pits.
Exactly.
But keep your eyes open.
I don't know what to make of this season yet. There's some rumors, some whispers. I have this unconfirmed as of right now, so we'll get into it next week on the podcast once it's confirmed. But it sounds like for some of our regular classes that are going to be a part of the spring sizzler, like the Hoosier Stocks, the Dirt Car Sportsman, 4 cylinders and modifieds, we're going to start counting perfect attendance and points at Merrittville on the 22nd. But again, those are just, at this point, rumors. I have not 100% confirmed that. So just so you know, drivers, make sure you get your cars together for the opener next week, because it could matter at the end of the year for sure. And of course, Southern Ontario sprints are going to be running for points. That is you guys, Travis. How are you feeling about the season? We'll probably do like a full tee up of, as Finnegan has to be loud here. We'll do a full tee up of the spring sizzler and all that next week. But just heading into Test and Tune, how are you feeling? And how important is a Test and Tune day to you guys, your drivers?
Well, as I've seen Joe Plazik say before on social media, back in our day, we didn't have Test and Tunes. We had the 3 hot laps before opening night. And to me, sometimes like it sucks to burn the car up a little bit and not get the payout, but sometimes you can do a lot of testing and stuff like that too. But like I say, it does burn fuel and put time on your motor. So it's a bit of I don't always do them, but usually when I don't do them, I wish I did. But I'm definitely going this Saturday because it's a brand new car. That's when they're the best, when you've got something fresh, when you've got something known and true. Maybe skip Test and Tune and just go for the paycheck the next week. But definitely going this week because I got a new car. So got to try that.
Yeah, try it, break it in. Nice. Looking forward to it. We had a very busy week. We're going to have a very busy episode. Our guests this week, Justin Ramsay and Jake Hooker, who we caught up with both of them during our live podcast from Motorama. So we're going to air those interviews this week. and you're going to be able to find them up on the socials and over on the actual listening of this podcast, wherever you can tune in. Those interviews are going to be there. So video format will be on the socials though, so watch for those to come up. But before we get into that, we should probably recap this past weekend. Lots of things to talk about, including the Hard Clay Open, which, surprise, surprise, Super Matt gets the win and scores the big check. Matt Shepard earns his third Short Track Super Series Hard Clay Open at Orange County. What did you think of the race? And how about our boy Matt Williamson brings it home third?
Yeah, Short Track Super Series show. So it was open draw for the heats. Matt had a bad draw. I think he had to start 10th in the heat or so. Got up to about 5th. So then he had to start 13th, 14th, did get up to 3rd. He was coming at the end. If it was a 75 or 100, he might have been a different story. But yeah, Super Matt, like he won the race. And then at one point, because I was kind of watching a whole bunch of races at once on Saturday, but the one Anthony Prego had trouble in his heat and had to jump in Matt Shepard's backup car. And then at some point during the race, Prego blew his Shepard's backup car up, right, and had to coast to a stop. But like the volume was down, and I thought that was Shepard. So now I'm thinking, how did Shepard get his spot back after he blew up? I didn't know Prego had switched. So kind of a double-edged sword for Shepard. Won the 12 Gs, but probably spent it on the other guy borrowing his car.
Well, he's been doing that a lot lately. Didn't he kind of end the season with a bit of an expensive end of the year, blowing up some motors? So
having some little bit of motor trouble for a guy that does win dang near every race he runs.
yeah, right. So
which sucks.
Yeah,
Don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah,
even if you do win all the time,
I can't imagine.
Don't wish that on anybody.
I can't imagine he's getting very much ahead with the constant motor maintenance that he's had to do. But yeah,
$750,000 last year he did bring in.
that is true.
So
that does go a long way. But
plus t-shirt, that doesn't count his t-shirts, and his t-shirt trailers. Looks like it costs more just the trailer than my whole operation. So.
I wouldn't doubt it, honestly. Those guys, they bring quite a setup.
A little okay too.
Yeah. But it was a good event for them. Good kickoff to.
Jimmy Horton. We want to talk.
Yeah,
about him.
We wanted to give him a shout out.
Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because
how about that? I that's a name that before I got really back into the dirt world, I remembered from NASCAR back in the day. So I was like, oh, Jimmy Horton with a solid effort, solid run. Didn't quite come together in the end the way he wanted, but
no, but he did. Like he started pretty far back, almost last in the heat, got up to it either won or finished second, and then did get the lead in the feature. And felt like the 90s for a little bit there. And I always love seeing the natural Jimmy Horton run good.
Nice.
And so it didn't quite work out, but
it's
fun to watch him up there.
And we should probably talk about the High Limit Sprint Car Series, which got going this week on Tuesday from Lakeside. And what did you think of the Kyle Larson, Brad Sweet Sprint Car Series show? How do you break this one down? Because I thought I made it to the C mains. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fell asleep on it. It was my first day at a new gig at BRP of all places, so I didn't quite make it to the end of the show. But it sounds like I missed a good one.
Yep, definitely did. Sucks that hard crash in qualifying kind of put a hindrance on the night. Jake Newman, and I'm not really sure how he said it should be all right, but I think he's heavily sedated for sure after the big hit. But not too much more news on it, other than he can move all his limbs and stuff, and he is alert and talking, or alert and can acknowledge people anyway. But tough crash in qualifying started it, and but then the racing was good. I can see why guys went there. That track would be perfect if it was just a little bit shorter, because it seems like it could still get strung out a little bit, but for the most part it was top and bottom. And Rico with the $50,000 flat tire with 2 to go, and Gio winning a big race out of nowhere. He was kind of struggling, on the outlet tour. He had not the best stats ever compared to Buddy Kofoid, who's been lighting it up over there. But wins the 50 Gs, pulled it off when it mattered. Even Austin McCarl, so many guys you wouldn't think of had shots at it. One of them won. Austin McCarl almost won. And the guys, I love that the guys that started on the front row didn't win. And then they had that dice roll thing that they thought was going to be fun, but no one's going to give up a front row starting spot for 50 Gs, even if it for a couple extra grand that you have to win to get. So that roll thing, I don't know about that thing.
I feel like, Do you feel like Larson would do that, or like
That's what it
Sweet,
is
if it
for.
was
Like if Larson or Sweet
right?
ever gets it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty impressive run.
Unless they roll a 12 or something, because Larson's pretty
I thought it was
competitive.
pretty impressive that Carson Macedo picked up 20 spots in this feed.
That is
That
another
was a
thing.
hell of a
Yeah,
drive.
the race was quite. There's just so many angles to this race. Like the different
Hmm.
announcing. Like it was weird for me to get used to at first with Dylan Welch and his dad Vince calling the
Yep.
sprint cars. And at the end, Dylan was really picking it up, and I was starting to enjoy him. And then he got real excited at the end because like the slide job fest for second coming with the 5 to go was insane, and he did a real good job of calling
Yep.
that. And yeah, so those guys were new, and yeah, Macedo moved through the field. The track didn't take rubber. A lot of tracks down there can, so I was really happy that didn't happen. It just stayed slick to a cushion and a good bottom where guys would like drive it in and like catch the middle of the cushion, and then drive it down the banking and catch the bite coming off of 4 on the bottom. So many different lines
Yep.
available. They go into a lot of cool tracks. That's my favorite part about the High Limit
Yeah.
series. A lot of racy little
They got a
joints.
great schedule. Like I'm just going over it now. I like the way their website's laid out. It's right there for you to see. Next thing's going to be Kokomo, which I've gotten very
I
familiar
can't
with that
wait.
racetrack through the World of Outlaws dirt game. That seems to be the regional track that I play at least twice or three times a schedule with the current part I'm at for my my career mode, if you will. So, but that's a neat little place. I'm excited to see how that one goes off. And yeah.
It races amazing in real life, with especially winged or non-wing
Hmm.
sprints, which is but it's usually non-wings there. So when the wings come up, it's a pretty big deal at
Yeah, I'm
Kokomo.
excited for Lernerville. Lincoln Park's going to be a cool spot, I think. Bridgeport is going to be
Yeah,
fun.
that's another wingless
Yep.
place.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
They're going to Bridgeport.
Yeah, they're going to Bridgeport. It's Bridgeport's the last one, it looks like.
Oh yeah,
October 3rd.
Lernerville will be is the other 50 G's.
Yeah.
So
They do take quite a break in the summer though, as I'm just looking at the schedule here. It says oh no, I have it. I'm reading it wrong. I see now. I was like, why is there no race in July? But they're in Grandview in July. That's why. Anyways, High Limit Series, check it out. It's pretty good time, especially if you like some the bigger names in sprint cars, uh, like yeah, some of our NASCAR ringers. Even Alex Bowman gained 10 spots after having to take it a provisional. So shout out to my guy
yeah, we even had a couple locals.
and Westbrook.
Paulie, he had a rough night, and Westbrook also had a rough night flipping in the
Yeah,
heat. So we had some local boys
yeah,
down there.
and of course that was the part owner Kyle Larson's show, and he cashed his own check at the late model challenge prior to this week. Actually, uh, pretty impressive.
It was
Yeah,
last
last Thursday.
Thursday
So we were, I think,
while we were
what
recording.
heats were on. I think while we were on, right when we were recording. So, but
I caught the we caught the last few laps.
not surprising that Larson had to go through Davenport to get that win, though.
Yeah, that was a perfect way to queue up Davenport running the NASCAR dirt races this weekend as well. Him and
Hmm.
Larson duking it out on a Thursday when no one else has got anything else to watch. And it was literally a duke out show, like Slide Job City, just like the high limit sprint car race was for second. They were like parking each other's right rear quarters on their noses. Larson's right rear quarter panel was missing after the race. He was wall riding so much. And yeah, just two pros in the late models going at it at Bulls Gap, which is like banked like Bristol, or
Yep.
it's like 36 degrees. Yeah, crazy track too. Perfect track for that.
No, you said it, and then I went and I was catching the action, and I couldn't believe the banking in the corner. Like as soon as they started to like point the nose down, I was like, these guys are just driving downhill. It feels like through the corners.
Literally.
It's a very cool racetrack that uh, made for some great action with Kyle Larson and Davenport trade and slide jobs. And like you say, it was a perfect intro to the NASCAR weekend. I didn't. I've soured on the Bristol Dirt Race being
Oh, come on.
the more time I spend in
It
the
was
actual dirt world. But that was as
hard to
good as
hate
there's been.
that on Sunday. Yeah. Hard to hate that.
Did that race just save NASCAR on dirt? Like, are we gonna have to do it again next year because it was so good?
It might have made it so we got to watch it on Bristol again, which I still think our Charlotte idea is better. But,
Yes.
but they're probably going to do it on Bristol if they do it. Because it wasn't all like they didn't, like last year and the year before, I think it was always like they announced they were going to do it again. This year they didn't.
Yeah.
And the part I heard on the NASCAR Sirius station was like, if they lose Bristol Dirt in the spring, they might not have. It might be only one Bristol then.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks too. Never
Well,
thought of
they
that
fight the
angle.
weather there so much, right? Like
They
that's the
definitely
real
got to
issue.
move the weekend. Wrong weekend
Yeah.
to do Bristol Dirt.
No.
That's a for sure. Like move that a little more in the summer. Clearly,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like you could like could you do it like maybe the week before the All-Star race? Like if you did it like mid-May?
yeah.
See, that would
Definitely be
be
better.
and
Like
that would
before
play into the
hurricane
Charlotte
season.
thing. Well,
Yeah.
that could play into the Charlotte thing super well because then you could just do you could do Charlotte Dirt, then you can go to Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, and then you go back to the Charlotte 600 race. That would work well. That'd be a
Oh
good
yeah.
little part of the schedule.
Do Charlotte that way. Yeah, Charlotte Dirt.
You basically
I
give the
like that.
teams and drivers basically a month at home because they can drive home.
I would love that because it's got to be expensive to put the dirt on and haul it off. And NASCAR is all about saving money, they say, and then they do that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
which is a little bit not saving money, clearly.
doesn't
And
make
I would
sense.
love to see it at Charlotte because they could bring a bunch of bleachers in, and they would definitely have enough seats as people that they sold on last Sunday. So
Yeah,
it
and
wouldn't
it
be much,
promotes the
and then it would
track.
look packed.
Well, it promotes the track for the World Finals too, right? Maybe there's going
Yeah,
to be some extra people who aren't necessarily traditional dirt fans that would end up going to the show because they went to the NASCAR show and they're like, oh, you know what? They saw there's other dirt events here. I'm going to go check them out. So I
I'm definitely sold on Bristol or on
on
NASCAR
Charlotte.
on dirt. I want to see it on Charlotte,
Yeah.
but Bristol Dirt on the weekend was pretty good too. You got to admit, and the dirt
Yes.
guy, top 6 dirt guys. I love that it finally fell that way.
Yeah. Yeah, finally, right? Like I was gonna ask you about that. See, so if you didn't see it, Christopher Bell ends up getting the win. So, but he sweeps pretty much like a top 6 all dirt ringers, if you want to call them that, guys who got their start in dirt racing, in that and who are now in the Cup Series. Tyler Reddick.
Also,
I
yeah,
wanted Tyler Reddick to get one more shot at him. That would have been the perfect end to it, I think. Caught if you missed it, a caution came out right as the leaders were on the backstretch coming to the checkered, and Tyler Reddick did not get to make the move for the win. So, but I think that would have been the cherry on top of what was a decent race. However, it was a lot of passing and all that. There was only four lead changes under green,
I'll give you that.
so still it's not perfect. But maybe a change of venue and giving Bristol to the concrete again would be good for that. But we'll see.
I think
Either
so.
way, Kyle Larson struggled in that race. Just to note, I think he really hates NASCAR on dirt. I think if he wants to run NASCAR, he wants to run on ovals. I think if it was Kyle Larson's decision, he'd probably just run Michigan 24 times on the schedule because he loves those big 2 mile racetracks.
He's. I love watching him there in Homestead. Yeah, those are my favorite places to watch Larson
Yeah, for sure.
when he can ride the
Uh,
wall.
Yeah, exactly. We should probably get into the terrible tragedy, the passing of Justin Owen, in what was a really scary incident and something that you actually caught live and texted me
Yeah.
about. And then, immediately I'm like, I'm looking for it, but like, I don't want to look for it because I don't want to see it. But
No,
you want the details and you want to maybe hope that the driver's okay. But
just one of those things, really.
yeah, it was just
Like it
really
didn't
hard.
look that bad. A lot of people said like it was a bad flip, but it's just the way the cage hit the top of the wall,
Hmm.
just the angle that it happened, and yeah, I know it's the first one we've had since Greg Hodnett in the sprint car world, so that was almost 5 years. We almost got a little complacent again, and then get smacked in the face and reminded what can happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is a dangerous, dangerous sport at every single level, and you guys are all very brave and very wild to take on the task of racing and putting on the show that you guys do for the fans. And hopefully, fans don't forget how dangerous this can be. I know we even had some pretty scary moments. We talked about those with Shane Pierce last year at Merrittville, the way he was flipping around. It just makes
Yeah,
us
we've
that
had
much
some
more
wrecks in the
thankful.
Niagara region too, and
Yeah.
definitely thinking Justin Owen and his family. He was a gasser too. He was second in hot laps that night.
Hmm.
I saw he like won a few local features at the Berg. He was a local wingless champion.
Yeah.
27.
Yeah.
Rough.
Yeah, just terrible. So thinking of him and transitioning as best we can here. We want to give some congratulations to Mr. Ryan Beagle, who is the champion of the BRP TV iRacing series for the season. If you missed it on Monday night, the series came to an end, or the season at least for this series came to an end Monday. And it was a very tight battle up until about 10 laps into the feature race, where Beagle came in trailing Cody Higbee 8 points in the series for the championship. He made up, I believe, 2 points in the qualifying and the heats, and then got out to an early lead in the feature before Cody Higby got caught up in an incident and then had some computer trouble, which is, I guess, kind of like the equivalent of you guys have a mechanical failure. He kind of had an internet
Yep.
failure, and that cost him a shot at least making up some time because he was already, I think, 3 laps down before he started having the tech issues. So, not what Cody Higby wanted. Not, we were kind of all hoping for a tighter finish, but you got to give credit where credit's due. Ryan Beagle came out, he dominated that race, led every single lap, crushed it, cruised it, and put a cherry on top of what was a really special season for the Beegs, and hopefully that carries on to the street stock when he gets going here again. Going to be running Oshweekend full time and hitting all the special events and some of the other races at Merrittville, as well as what he told us during Victory Lane.
Hopefully he's at the Spring Sizzler. Come on, Beegs. I know
Yeah,
you're listening, bud.
come out,
Congrats
come
on
on
the
out.
ship.
Yeah, exactly right. Earned himself a good chunk of change too. That series paid well for the top 5 in points, which
Enough for a
you ended up
tire in a bit.
you
Yeah.
ended up top 10 in the series, and
Default.
yeah,
Default.
didn't you
Run all the
finish?
nights.
You finished ninth in
Do
the
all the
race too.
rules. I did have a pretty decent run. My wheels, the last few, like I was just starting to get it, and my wheels started messing up. And Monday night it was working real good.
Yeah,
And yeah, I was running third for like the first quarter of the race.
yeah, because there was like kind of a jingle, I think, that started things where
Yeah,
you were able to use, like, I think you were on the inside line for the
I
initial
was ahead of
start.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I did get a good start too, and passed all those guys, and all that happened behind me. And then
yeah,
when there
and
was the
then
restart,
we were
then
like,
I
we
fell
looked
back
up and we were like, oh my god, Travis is in like fourth. What? When did this happen?
because it was still bitey
Yeah,
down on the bottom.
but just then another
But
reason.
then I struggle when it gets slick, and like on long runs, I struggle because it seems like the tires they don't wear out, but they heat up, and it gets way looser. And I need to upgrade my pedal, or at least make it a little more stiff or something, so I can kind of, because you don't want to go wide open in iRacing in that big block when it gets slick. You got to, like,
Get feather it.
Deritter says, like half throttle at tops, and then just but you don't want to come all the way off either, and just it's a super fine line, and my pedals ain't
Sure.
quite there, so.
Well, you can make maybe
Cheers to
you can
Beaks,
make the
though.
investment for next season because I hear maybe you're going sprint car racing. I think, but you don't like the fixed setups. You're already complaining to me about that. So
That's okay. I'll figure it out.
yeah,
It'll be fun doing something different, and yeah, can't wait for. That's not a lie. I can wait for next BRP season because we got to get through the real racing season first.
exactly right. Super Dirt Car Series. We should touch on Can-Am. Canceled. That track was not ready to go, and they just kind of told everybody, "Hey, just stay home. It's not going to be worth it." And the Super Dirt Car Series off to kind of a rocky start with their schedule and some cancellations.
Yeah, I've been like that the last couple of years. Tough break for that series, and director Dirk Cardine Reynolds, fellow BRP series driver and guest of the podcast. But he was saying in the thing Monday night, they'd put new clay on it, trying to help out that track used to be real hard on tires, so they were trying to get some new clay and work on that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just didn't get enough hot weather during the spring to get it done, and they posted the pictures, and it's got to give a shout out to Bartlett. For him to not, or Ryan Bartlett or Tyler, I forget which one runs it. One of them. But anyway, shout out to him because like a lot of promoters just would have ran it anyway because they're getting wicked weather and they would have been packing the place no matter what, and the cars would have had to show up because it's a Super Dirt Car Series race. So some promoters would have just ran it and pocketed it and like cost the racers money if they knew the track was. So shout out to him to turn down the awesome weather we're supposed to have Saturday, and gotta wait. They're gonna work on a rain date though, so watch for that.
Yep. Watch for the updates on the superdirtcarseries.com website. Back in action Sunday, April 23rd at Bridgeport for King of the Big Block Showcase. It's a 75 lap, 7,500 to win event. So we're not too far away from getting some big block action, thankfully. But tough break. Yeah, I think in the I think when I touched base with Dirk Hardin, he said there was something like he was sinking in like a foot, maybe 2 feet into the clay that they had laid down because it just wasn't done yet. So,
Yeah, and
got to respect Tyler Bartlett for what he owned up to, and hopefully they get the reschedule in.
yep. I do love Canyon. Being there a couple times. It's one of the biggest tracks. I think it's at like true over half a mile, and they call it a 5/8. And yeah, it's huge, nasty track to the north.
I was thinking about it because I was driving to a friend's house for Easter weekend in Ottawa, and I was passing kind of through all the exits for Thousand Islands, and I was like, Man, there's a lot of good tracks up this
There
way
is
too. I mean,
Can-Am,
it's a little
Mohawk,
bit more spread
Brockville,
out,
kind
but
of Cornwall.
Cornwall, yeah.
That's that.
And it's not too much further to go into some of the tracks in Quebec too. So
True. And
yeah,
then
I like it. I like the setup up there in Eastern Ontario, I guess you could call it, which feels weird to say, but it
that's what
is
it is.
Eastern Ontario. And I think that pretty much is going to cover it. One other thing I did want to touch on that's new for this year locally, I've got to give a shout out to Van Sickle Pet Value and Lundy's Lane Pet Value owner Jeff Riley, big sponsor over at Merrittville Speedway with the 4-cylinder division, but also wants to help out the racetrack and help out the drivers and fans too by selling tickets and pit passes at the stores. So you can stop in at Lundy's Lane Pet Value, which is at the corner of Kaler and Lundy's Lane, Highway 20 in Niagara Falls, and Van Sickle Pet Value in St. Catharines. You'll be able to purchase your tickets ahead of time. The idea is that they're going to be able to create a 2-lane system for drivers who are checking in at the racetrack. Those who have already paid can just go in, get through, bypass all that lineup. They don't have to jump out of their race trucks. I think like the crew will still have to jump out and take care of that stuff and show that they've paid or whatever. But the trucks can just get in there, and hopefully we don't have as many log jams for drivers and for fans too, because there was a lot of times where we'd have really busy Saturday nights at Merrittville Speedway, and fans would still be at the ticket booth as heats were starting or whatever was going on. This way, fans are going to be able to show that they got their tickets, just walk right in and get to the action, and hopefully get there early and maybe buy some concession stand stuff like a solid hot dog, maybe some burgers, some chicken
Track
fingers.
food.
Tower deliveries always appreciated, by the
Get
way.
real.
Yeah, I had a few guys
You're
give me some
lucky.
delivery last year, so it was a good time. It was a great time, but uh, yeah, it's a cool program. I believe CA Niagara is also going to have some details on that, where they're going to be selling tickets. I don't believe they're going to be doing the same thing with the pit passes necessarily, but tickets will be available at CA Niagara locations as well. More details on that to come. So be sure you're following the Merrittville Speedway social media for that update. And we'll talk about it more once the program gets going. And hopefully Travis will maybe even be able to stop in and give us a report on whether buying pit passes ahead of time works out well for you guys.
Well, if it keeps the trucks from lining up on the road, which happens sometimes, it's definitely great.
Yeah, right. So we're optimistic. We'll see how it works in the first couple weeks of the season. With all that said, I think we've covered everything, and it's time to get into our interview with Jake Hooker. We'll start with Jake Hooker first, and Justin Ramsay also on the way, as we caught up with them from Motorama. And oh wait, you know what? There was one other thing I forgot, Travis.
Uh-oh.
One other thing. Delaware.
Right.
We really wanted to get into
Just
Delaware. I'm
because we
looking
had
over my
some
notes and I
local
was like,
boys.
oh,
Last night in the
yeah.
crate late
So,
models. So yeah, last night at Delaware, they had modifieds and crate lates, and Charlie Sandercock, Kyle Sopaz, and the two Graham brothers, Craig and Brant, went down there. And one of the Graham brothers and Sopaz ended up getting together in the B main, which is like, I'll drive all that way to get into guys you race with at home is kind of weird. And it seems to happen a lot. And
mm-hmm.
Sandercock was super fast, won the dash, started on the pole, led a lot early, and then faded back to sixth. At the end, started to get a little rough. He hit the rough stuff once, a little tough, and fell back a bit. And he's the guy we got to get on the show, Charlie Sandercock. I know him. I can
Yeah.
line that up. Yeah, I'm definitely got to have him. Definitely a wheelman in the old crate lates, and he's got a 360 win too. And he's like, yeah,
Yep.
definitely a Brighton hero.
Yes, Rush Late Models. It's the Battle of the Bay all this weekend. We'll also have our buddy Stephen Petty on to talk about that as he lends his vocal
Yeah,
talents to the
I had
Rush
fun listening to
Late
him
Models series.
last night.
Yeah, he had a great
Good
call
job,
last
Steven.
night. So, yep, shout out to you, buddy. Charlie Sandercock ended up finishing sixth after starting on the pole and represented Trenton, Ontario, real well
That's
in
a
that
hike for
feature
them
event.
guys, man.
I know, right? That's all I could think about. I was like, it's already far to get anywhere from Trenton down to, I guess unless you're going to like Can-Am or something, but
Even
to go all the way to Delaware, that seems pretty far. I think that's got to be at least 10 hours, maybe
I think
13.
even Can-Am for them is like an hour and a half. Like they're in a weird spot. They're like 2 hours from us, almost 2 hours from Brockville. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what Brighton's for.
It's
For the racing right in that little sweet spot in between.
yes. And we shout out to them and both all the drivers who go there and make the races, but also the racetracks and the facilities that give these guys a place to go and run. And then they can hone their skills and hopefully go and represent us well, like Charlie Sandercock did on the Rush Late Models. Now, with all that said, we've covered everything, Travis. We
Now
got
we
to get to
have.
these interviews. They were a blast. Thanks again to Greg McPherson and everybody at Motorama who had us out. And thanks again to our guests, Justin Ramsay and Jake Hooker, who came on. And let's get to them now on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. The Southern Ontario Dirt Show is brought to you by Ohsweken Speedway, Southern Ontario's home for Friday night excitement. For over 25 years, Ohsweken Speedway has promoted and played host to sprint car racing with a new season of family-friendly events on the horizon and set to begin May 19th. Catch our own Travis Cunningham as he races weekly in the 360 division each Friday night in pursuit of a season-long championship. The Friday night lineups are rounded out by crate sprints, Thunderstocks, and mini-stock divisions as well. In addition to weekly racing, Ohsweken Speedway will also hold several marquee events for the Southern Ontario Sprints, the Action Sprint Tour in their West Series and National Series, as well as a visit from Canada's premier stock car series, the NASCAR Pinty Series on August 14th and 15th for their only stop on dirt. Mark your calendars as the 3/8 mile dirt track located in Ohsweken, Ontario welcomes drivers from across the country and beyond for the 19th running of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, which is scheduled for September 16th. To keep up to date with the latest news from the track, be sure to find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For track information on policies, admissions, directions, and more, be sure to visit ohswekenspeedway.ca. That's OHSWEKEN Speedway.ca. Ohsweken Speedway, your home for Friday night excitement. The Southern Ontario Dirt Show is brought to you by Bicknell Racing Products. The last 40 years plus have seen Bicknell Racing Products grow to be an industry leader for racers and enthusiasts alike. Their St. Catharines location is home to 20,000 square feet of manufacturing and retail space, with a second store in Niagara Falls, New York, and a dealer network that continues to grow day by day to serve Southern Ontario, Western New York, and beyond. Bicknell Racing Products distributes Hoosier tires for much of Eastern Canada, New York, and even parts of Pennsylvania. BRP has everything you could need to keep your car performing at its peak with genuine parts from the manufacturer. They even have a technical support line committed to helping you with the most up-to-date information and feedback from racers and crew chiefs. Have you ever thought about a career in the automotive or racing industry? Now is your chance to take the leap with Bicknell Racing Products. They are looking for CNC machine operators, welders, and more to join their team this season. Please send all resumes to Dana Curving at BicknellRacingProducts.com. That's DANACURVIN at BicknellRacingProducts.com. For further information on Bicknell Racing Products and to find a dealer near you, visit BRP online at www.BicknellRacingProducts.com or on Facebook or at twitter.com/BicknellRacing.
All right, Jake Hooker, first thing I got to ask, you got that traction control sticker on your car, and I had to ask you about it. There's always a little bit of tongue-in-cheek when I see a Davis Technology sticker on a race car, so tell us about that.
Yeah, I just got to thank my car owner, Brad Authier. He supplies us with a good rocket, and yeah, we were going to load the race car, and the sticker ended up right on the side, so yeah. I don't know nothing about it.
That's always the driver's answer. I don't know nothing about nothing. That's a smart answer. I like that. But you drive a series that we don't get to see a lot necessarily in the Niagara region, except for maybe on Sunday nights at Humberstone Speedway. So just kind of talk about your experience in racing and what you're driving these days.
I'm very fortunate right now with my racing career. I drive an asphalt pro late model for Mike McCall down in Delaware, and I also drive a super dirt late model for my car owner Brad Authier. So right now, just count my blessings, kind of floating with the waves, and driving a late model, a Thunderstock, and a asphalt pro late model.
Yeah, that's the thing about you. Like, I remember watching your dad, Kirk Hooker, race on the pavement tracks back in the day, and he was a dirt guy too. Tell us what it's like driving a real deal dirt late model with that real motor in there, and like, because you're the first guy on the podcast, I think, that does race like a full-blown dirt late model, not a crate.
Well, it's a different experience for me, like especially coming down to one of these deals because it's kind of run by crate cars and stuff. But Like I was telling everyone down here, it's hard to get it out of your blood, holding the car wide open, just going right through the corners, not even taking a thought to lift.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sprint car, the same thing. But like at Eldora, I noticed like whenever it's hammered down, the late models ain't lifting. They used to not lift at Ushweekend back when the ODLM used to come, because I used to see your car owner come race that all the time. Wasn't there that like someone threw a slide job on someone, like an epic slide job video with him involved? Wasn't there something like that back in like 07-ish?
Yeah, so those are both my good buddies. So the one is my car owner, and then the other one's Andrew Riome. I don't know if anyone from around here knows him, but
I remember Andrew Riome.
He's kind of the baddest dude.
He was the guy
there.
that won all those races.
Oh yeah, and he's he's just a guy I always looked up to. He's just one of the baddest guys.
So was that a dirty slide job way back then, or was it just racing deal, or?
I don't know. It's
it's a long time ago, so we can talk about it.
I'd probably throw a slide job or two. I don't know. If it was for the win or two to go, I think it was healthy.
Yeah, that was like one of the first viral videos on the local dirt scene. Like that was one of the first ones that got the rounds when YouTube was starting around.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I think it was Andrew that destroyed his rad, and like Brad didn't even feel it. Just crinkled the quarter panel, and he's like, "Yeah, we still kept racing." So
yeah.
So, Jake, I want to know, for me as a dirt racing fan, the late models, again, we don't get to see them a ton in the Niagara region all that often, especially a true full-blown one. We get a lot of crates sometimes, but I think the biggest thing when you walk up to that ride over there, the biggest thing that comes to mind first is just the enormity of it. That thing feels very overwhelming. Like, I've been around sprint cars, I've been up close and personal with Travis's ride, I've been up close and personal with modifieds and stuff, but there's just something about a late model when you're standing next to it, it feels so huge. What does it feel like to drive a late model behind the wheel? Does it feel like you're driving this massive car on a small racetrack?
Yeah, truthfully, I think it's the fenders that do it for it. But yeah, like I don't know if it's a huge race car, but it's something unique in every sort of this deal. Like I'm just looking around, you got your Legends cars and this badass vintage coupe right here.
Yep.
Like these are all unique, but I think, when you go out on the racetrack with it, I've never been afraid to go 3-4 wide. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no. But like whenever like I hear like sprint car guys or like late modified guys say that they drive a late model, they feel like they're looking like down out of the left side window almost, because like the car's so jacked up like this that they almost feel like they're looking down like this, and they have a hard time feeling like when cars are around because it's so jacked up.
Yeah, most of your running now is just like off the right front because the left side it just gets jacked up unbelievably. But it's a different feeling. It's kind of like when you're at your house and you feel like someone's watching you.
Yeah,
the car's there, you just don't know how close or where he's at. So
Spidey sense.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, it takes a little bit. 'Cause like with our motors, you can hear them somewhat, but yeah, it's a cool deal.
Yep.
So I got to know, too, what does 2023 hold for you? You just mentioned that you're racing 3 different kinds of cars. You race at multiple racetracks. It's early in the season, so I'm sure not every single plan is finalized. But where can fans go out and see you race this year? What's on the calendar?
Well, we plan on doing every Saturday at Southern Ontario, I think, and with the Thunderstock and late model. And then we're going to do 5 nights at Delaware. I don't know what the 5 nights are. Everyone's got them booked out with the MRE team again. And I'm trying to win my one of my sponsors. He's the 51. I want to take that thing down to Merrittville. We went down there last year with the UMP. The UMP got second. I think I can. I don't know if I can drive it, but I definitely would like to try and get better than second there.
I think you could do it. You're plenty capable of it.
It's definitely a fast hot rod. It definitely runs good anytime I see it anytime I call it in the vintage series. We've called it at Humberstone a few times. What's the difference between like the dirt and pavement? Like, I don't know. Like, just because pavement you got to be so on your marks and everything, whereas dirt is changing. Just tell us the difference between the one and how it is to like switch between the two.
It's a different world because when on the dirt, like on these cars, you're driving more at the right front, and on the asphalt, the cars mostly they set equally, or you try to, on both front ends, and you really. You got to be conservative, and you got to be good at, like, the one thing I struggle in is I just bury that asphalt car in the corners. Like, I'm murdering tires, where that's just the dirt side of it, and it'll come out of me sooner than later. But both these cars, like, as long as you get into good equipment, you got good people around you, that's all that I can thank for with everybody. But it takes about a lap of hot laps, and then you get back to your rhythm.
Yep.
So that's really interesting to me that it comes down to rhythm. For me, I always thought that pavement racing would be the one that you've got a rhythm to, right? It seems like the on-off time, and when it comes to throttle, braking, you can really make it almost like a pattern around the racetrack. But do you feel like there's any kind of rhythm that you can settle into when you're on the dirt as well?
Depending on when the tracks are wide open, you're pretty much getting everything that you can get out of the race car. But once it's dry slick, that's when you're really trying to drive smart. And my dad always says keeping an egg underneath your foot. So you're really trying to save the tires and keep it from spinning. And just, if it worked good the lap before, you want to apply brake at the same point and just keep hitting every mark for however long the race is and staying out of the trouble and keeping your nose clean.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, the hardest thing on dirt for me is just knowing whether you're in the right line or not, just because it changes so many times. And I have a problem falling into a funk myself, into more of a pavement style driving style when we get long green runs where I should be moving around more. That's what I'm going to try to do this year. So yeah, tough sledding doing both at the same season.
Yeah, it's fun. It really is. And like I said, I'm just really fortunate. And I think one part of the dirt racing down at Southern Ontario has helped me is like you guys said, in the heat race, you could be so bottom dominant, and the next thing you know, you're right around the top, just crushing the concrete blocks, which is not the best, but they make spoilers every day in quarterfinals, so it's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hammer them out. They make hammers every day, too.
Yeah, there you go. You got this. Well, I feel like we got to get to some of the same questions that we give all of our racers that come on board the podcast. Let's start with one that's been a little bit new for us to ask drivers, but if you were going to go out and build the perfect racing facility you could take from any racetrack in the world. You can go on and grab a couple elements of tracks in the States and build something up here, whatever you want. You got an unlimited plot of land, unlimited budget. What kind of racetrack are you building somewhere in Southern Ontario?
So I got a couple ideas on this deal, but I really think Sunset Speedway Dirt would be totally badass, and I would really like to bring a racetrack like Attica with a big spoon, take you into this swirl, bring that down a little closer to me, not far away from you guys, and have the Eldora scheme around it. Like those, I think if you can make a tight bull ring and then a really hammer down racetrack, those would be ideal for me.
Okay, fair enough.
I love the Sunset Dirt idea because it's the way it's got the little bank and it's a perfect little size for slide jobs and close quarters racing.
Well, I think Sunset's here. They do Bristol on dirt. Why can't we do Sunset on dirt?
Geez.
Oh, are we calling them out?
Go.
I'm here for that.
Open late models, bring sprint cars. The SOS series, I seen that guy was around here.
Yeah, he was just up here.
Peter's trying to wave it off. I don't know. I don't know if he likes that idea or not, but I think we may have to make a push for it. We'll see. We got a lot of awesome dirt tracks, too, but I don't know. Sunset on dirt is very interesting. I
love Attica, too, though. That was also a good answer.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, you're somebody who's driven a lot of different race cars, like you said. So maybe there's something you haven't driven yet, or maybe there's one thing you've driven that you want to drive for the rest of your life. One car, one racetrack for the rest of your life. What's the pick you make, Jake?
Oh, man, that's a tough deal right there. I love super dirt late models, so I gotta stick with that. And I'm all about. I love Eldora. I would love to go there and just chase that million down, chase the world, chase the dream.
Yeah, all you guys out from the chat, that area. All you guys love late models, and all you guys love Eldora. That's for sure. Like all the people out there.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is about that place. Maybe it's just the atmosphere or whatever, but I'd love to take an MRE car down to New Smyrna, High Banks.
Ooh. Yeah, your dad used to go there.
Yeah,
that's when I remember Kirk Hooker the most, when he used to do his winter trips.
So we're trying to do that for 2024. I hit the last 5 nights with the MRE team, and it's looking pretty good. So hopefully, I don't know if I can be as consistent as my dad down there, but at least like to finish a couple races.
Awesome.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, Jake. Thanks for taking the time. You can get back to your beautiful race car over there, that beast of a machine. And if you haven't gone over and checked out any of the race cars here, this is the spot to come and do it. And make sure you go and check out some of the late models. Go and check out the Thunder stock that's over there. And thanks for taking the time, Jake, once again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
The Merrittville Kart Club turns 30 this season, and they can't wait to celebrate with you. Join them Tuesday nights to see the next generation of local heroes race their way up the ranks. Matt Williamson, Cody McPherson, and Dalton Slacker are just a few names who have graduated from the Merrittville Kart Club ranks to become winners and champions of the sport. The season will begin May 9th with multiple practices through the end of April and May scheduled, including driver's school April 23rd. You can support the club by purchasing a 30th anniversary t-shirt or hoodie, both of which are available now for pre-order. For more information and kart club schedule, visit merrittvillespeedway.com.
All right. Justin Ramsay joining us. Driver of that beautiful purple 03. That thing is looking really fresh. Is it even purple anymore? Do I call it blue? What color is that thing? Because it is just perfect.
It's like a mixture of purple, pearl blue. I don't know. We kind of made it at work.
Well, it looks fantastic, and I'm expecting it to be bad fast. So how are you handicapping your street stock season coming up? Thunder stock, street stock, Hoosier stock. It depends on what track you're at, but we know that you're going to be behind the wheel of that 03 and probably towards the front.
Well, I'm not really sure what we're doing yet. We're going to do Brighton Speedway probably as much as possible. I kind of want to travel a little bit more and kind of get out of town a bit, but it's really convenient to just drive 20 minutes down the road to Brighton Speedway.
Yeah.
Yep. And your biggest win last year, would you say that was the win at Oshweekend in the Brock Leonard? Do you want to talk about that night?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You killed it that night.
I think I'm the only one to win it twice. It was back to back. The track was perfect though. It was like one of those tracks where I like to run the top and I could just hold to the floor, and there's no sprint cars there to blow it off. There was lots of traction. Yeah. So I hope it's like that this year again.
Yeah, we had Beagle or Bailey on right after that, and they just said how they couldn't believe how the way you were hooked up on the top like that and sailing it, and like, yeah, it was basically like for guys like Beagle and Bailey to say that about you, you kicked their butts by like almost a straightaway that night.
Well, I was doing well before the caution came out, and then I didn't see anybody for a couple laps, so I kind of got I was a little cocky, and I was like, oh, I don't have to hit the gas that hard, and Beagle got beside me, and there was only 2 laps to go, and it was time to get going.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the more impressive wins, and what was a really entertaining season all around in the street stock division. Pretty much any track, anywhere you went, the street stocks always stood out, at least to me, and especially at Merrittville Speedway, and we saw some great performances from you throughout the year last year. What do you think makes street stock racing so entertaining? What is it to you that it allows you guys to put on the great shows that you do any given Saturday, Friday, Sunday night, any night you guys can find a racetrack?
I don't really know. It's the cheaper class. You don't have to spend a lot of money at it, and a lot of the guys have been doing it for a couple years. Like, there's a lot of experience in the class, and I don't know. I think it's just because everybody from, like, when you're racing in the field from 15th on, they've all been doing it for 10, 15 years, so there's lots of experience, and everybody respects everybody's equipment, and you can be door to door touching tires, but there's no banging, crashing. I think that's what it is. It's just experience, I guess.
Yeah, and the ability to lean on you guys. You got those fenders, and you guys definitely use them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm jealous that you get to run at Brighton all the time because it's my favorite little track. The way it's just the aura about the place. The way the river runs through the back straightaway. Sometimes like new people run in will be like, "What is it with this joint?" But then once you get going, and I just feel like the aura there, like it's just such like a family deal. But like you guys can get on your nerves a lot too. More up there, I've seen a lot too. But like, and then the party at the Labor Day weekend, like it's just one of my favorite little places to go, and just how it's like in the little community, like everyone just hits the Saturday. It's the only thing to do around there really on a Saturday night. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I think so, and definitely the party's amazing after the big fire. There's a band sometimes. Like it's a good track, and it's probably the most slipperiest track that I race at, and I think that's what helps me when I go to other tracks too, because like there's not a lot of traction. It's really dry, and you adapt everywhere with it.
Yeah, definitely slick like Merrittville and Humberstone could be, and you roll pretty good at those tracks too.
Yeah, Humberstone's my favorite track, honestly, to race at. I like how the corners are sharper, and I can't get the hang of Merrittville though. My best finish is the second. I've been the bridesmaid like 5 times there, and I just can't seem to pull off a win there.
Yeah, it's a tough track to do that turn 4. Is that what it is for you, or where would you say for Merrittville?
It's probably turn 4, yeah. It's just getting into it and trying to get off. And if you get in a little too hard into 3, you're going to slide up, and there's no traction ever in the center of that track. The moat's nice. You can kind of rip through the moat, but I don't know. Last year, I had a good run going. I think it was in 4th, and it rained out mid-race. And I had a good spot running around the top. I started 20th, I think, and I was coming good I was using the moat a lot, but it rained, so.
Yep, that's the worst when that happens.
Yeah, it's always hard when you get those rain out nights. I wonder from like a driver's perspective, is it more difficult to get into a night, get the car on a racetrack, maybe complete a hot lap session, complete a heat race, and then get rained out? Or is it those nights where you get to the racetrack, don't even get to set up the car, and have to go home because the rain comes early? What's the more frustrating rain out to have as a driver?
After hot laps.
Yeah.
And then don't get the heat in. The car's all muddy for nothing.
Yeah, that's right. That's definitely the one, yeah. You get the car unloaded, you get out there, you get dirty, and then it gets canceled. But also any night where it's calling for rain, it rains in the morning, it might call for rain at night. Anytime there's rain in the forecast, it's terrible. I hate going to the racetrack when it's like that.
That's a racer's nightmare and a promoter's nightmare all in one. We all got to remember that part. It's a nightmare for both of us on those nights.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it can be rough, but I want to ask you some of our cliche questions that we have here on the podcast. So let's go with one that, you have a lot of experience. You've raced a bunch of different racetracks throughout Ontario. If I gave you an unlimited plot of land somewhere in Ontario to build yourself a dirt facility, you can combine one racetrack, or one or two, three racetracks, or you can just make one racetrack a copycat. What are you building? What kind of dirt facility would your ideal track look like?
Oh, boy.
I know I'm putting you on the spot with this one.
It's a loaded
That was a tough
question.
one.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. The size, I'm going to say the size of Humberstone,
Okay.
the surface of Brighton,
Okay.
with the facility of Ohsweken.
I like it.
That's a very political answer.
Might be our best answer.
That might be our best answer yet, and that is the facility that I would definitely want to go see a race at. We'll get you out of here on this one, Justin, and let you get back out there and exploring the show and representing your race car. If I could give you one ride in any kind of race car at one racetrack for the rest of your life, what's the pick you're going with?
You're putting me on the spot twice now.
I know.
We asked this one to everybody, though.
I don't even know, honestly. There's a lot of cars I've never raced. I've been in a late model. I've been in one of our UMP modifieds. Never been in a Sportsman or 358. Never been in a sprint car. So I don't know. There's cars I've been in I've always thought I've wanted to be in, and they're not fun to race. So
I thought you were going to say like super late model. That was going to be my guess.
No,
no dice.
Not into the late models, honestly. I think like I kind of want to get into like a 358 or a Sportsman. I think it's kind of more my driving style a little bit.
I like it. Come race Merrittville. We need your car count.
Long drive, man.
Yeah.
Long drive.
Hey, you know what I'm hearing right now is I'm hearing that somebody out there, any car owners who need a driver in a modified or a Sportsman,
Yeah.
this is the guy you got to call. That's what I'm hearing right now. So thanks for taking the time, Justin. This has been a blast. Great to have you. Great to have your car at Motorama representing. We need more dirt cars here at Motorama, so I appreciate you doing this.
The only Thunderstock car, and I'm
the
going
only
to say
dirt
the
street stock
only
here.
person from Brighton Speedway here.
Oh, yeah, that is right. You are representing very well indeed, my friend. Thanks, and take care.
Thank you.
Pleasure doing this with you.
Thanks for having me up
Thanks,
here,
buddy.
guys.
And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show presented by Ohsweken Speedway and Bicknell Racing Products. Like what you hear, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us on Facebook at Southern Ontario Dirt Show or find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at SODS_pod. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.